Today we're going to go over the top 5 problems of this GMC Sierra 2500 HD, and that is a second generation. Now I'm holding in my hand the inner door handle. Yeah, there's a lot of issues with these, and there's a little tech tip on how to stop them from breaking. So with no delay, let's get into the top 5 problems. Number 1 has to do with four-wheel drive. Now, it works sometimes, and then sometimes it doesn't. Now what happens is you go to turn your selector switch, that's right here on the dash, it says 2, 4, and 4. That's two-wheel drive, 4 high, and 4 low, and it doesn't light up. Well, that's a good indication that that switch is not working. You can check your fuses, but I'm going to tell you over 100% that the switch is usually no good. Go ahead and pop one in there, and now, second cause is if you turn that switch and it does light up, but the four-wheel drive doesn't work, well, that's your encoder motor located below, right on the transfer case. 3 bolts, easy peasy. Take it right off, put it right back on. Doesn't need programming. Now on both items, check the harnesses. They could have a little bit of an issue to them. Not a problem either. You can either repair it or replace them. Number 2 takes us out here into the engine compartment. Now I'm going to go through a few things here, and it might even give you a tech tip on a couple of them. But this one has to do with code P2135, and that has to do with the hesitation. So when you're giving gas, you're trying to accelerate, and it kind of hesitates, right? I hear a lot of complaints thinking it might be a transmission issue, but if you've got that code, you've got to check that throttle body out. That throttle position sensor, it's not registering. It's not knowing the correct opening of that butterfly, so it doesn't let the air in, air and fuel mixture. So GM does allow you to change the throttle position sensor on this, not the whole throttle body. They make it so that you can actually take it apart. They make a kit. Me personally, I like to buy the throttle body with it already on. No problems, no questions asked. Put it on there. Now, I'm going to give you a little tech tip here, and that has to do with anything that's electronic in a car, especially engine compartment. Do your homework and see if it has to be relearned before you install. There's nothing more discouraging than installing a new part and now it won't even start or idle. Well, a lot of throttle position sensors, cam, crank position sensors, all need to be programmed. So quick way to think about that is simple as a lock and key, right? You have a lock and key, it works, unlocks the car or the door. New lock, old key, doesn't acknowledge each other. They don't work. That's as simple as that. That computer needs to know that part's in, so it needs to be programmed that it's in. Number 3 is a no start condition. Yeah, I know, it's everyone's nightmare. Crank, 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 no start. Well, with this particular model, it might be the fuel pump. That's located in the gas tank. Very common. Check 1A out because 1A Auto has all the fuel pumps for all the GMC trucks, no matter what size they are. Quick tech tip, I'm going to talk about the fuse module box, which is right here in this engine compartment. Very common. These will get corroded, whether it's weather, rodents, but they sell this whole module from GM because they know they have issues. Corrosion gets up underneath. These fuses corrode and break, meaning you'll see green all over them, or they turn black. If that's the case, don't change each one because the underneath is just as bad. You have to replace that whole module. So before you do that fuel pump, check this out too. Make sure you got power to that fuse. If you do, go ahead and do the pump. If you don't have power here, going down there, better do both. All right, number 4, I'm going to stay under the hood for this one. Now, it's really not a particular item. I'm going to put a whole bunch of things together, and it's called maintenance. Well, this truck, you have to stick to that maintenance plan, and I'm going to explain a quick little note of why on each item. First thing I want to talk about is transmission fluid. Yeah, it's a 2500, so that means either you're plowing or you're towing. So 30,000 miles, stick to it very, very regimented plan and change that training fluid and filter every 30,000 miles, and that transmission should cause no issues for you. Secondly would be the brake fluid. Every 60K they want you to flush this and add fresh fluid. And the reason for brake flushes, a lot has to do with moisture. Well, this is a power boost brake system, so that means it runs off of the drive belt. It's not a brake booster system, it's a power boost system. Stronger brakes, basically, because you'd be towing or plowing. So it has to do with the size of this vehicle. That's really important. You want to make sure that fluid's up to par and no moisture's in it. Now we're going to talk about coolant. Extended life coolant on this, every 100,000 miles. So every 100,000 miles, flush it. Don't extend it past that because it starts to break down, and when you have aluminum mixing with temperature, because this engine does a lot of work, you're going to start getting brown fluid. We don't want that brown fluid because then it's such a mess to flush. You got to flush the heater core, you have to flush the radiator, the engine block. It's just a lot to keep up with, and it won't cool properly when that coolant is contaminated. Last but not least are the spark plugs. Maintenance manual says every 100,000 miles to change these plugs. Well, I can tell you, I would do that because I've seen these cars come in at 103, 105,000. Boy, that's misfire is there, and it's always going to be the spark plugs. I recommend the whole thing, spark plugs, wires to do at the same time, and 1A has that kit for you, so check us out. All right, number 5, it leads us to the opening, this door handle. Now, it's a simple solution and simple problem, but not so simple when it breaks, right? Very common. See the aluminum handle part? That breaks off of this piece that's mounted inside the door. This is our kit from 1A, and it's really cool because it comes with tools like a little drill bit to get the rivets out of the door. These are riveted on from the factory, and it comes with replacement screws. So I personally keep all the little drill bits because they're nice to have. Now, easy peasy, you can do it. Tech tip, I told you I was going to tell you, they break very commonly, not just because it's aluminum, but if you watch a GM driver, they use this to shut the door. They don't use the handle. They grab this door and they swing it and they pull it, and it just gets too much strain on this part of it and it breaks. GM themselves sent out a TSB about that actually. Have the driver or passenger to stop using this handle to shut the door.